Jacob, so I brought you up because you have a question. Feel free to take the stage.
Appreciate you, and I appreciate Granary coming through. I do have some questions about your guys' thoughts on airdrops. I definitely know Flu's opinions on airdrops, but it'd be awesome to be able to, you know, have that clarified in this space. How does a protocol properly perform an airdrop that is sustainable and doesn't just drain a bunch of liquidity and turn everyone into exit liquidity?
I mean, like the key is just not going too crazy. You know, I think it's really easy to be really illiquid and then airdrop a ton of tokens and whatever, and totally like disrupt your incentives and economic alignment. Um, but you know, airdropping can't be your sole method or your primary method of governing power distribution. um, and the reason we're waiting to do the airdrop until after the LGE is by the time the LGE is done, even if everybody sells, it's not going to have a huge impact. I mean, of course, it'll be a significant impact if every single person sells, but I've been farming the airdrop and I'm not going to, and, I think there are a lot of people that are of the same mindset. And really it's like, don't let FDVs get too crazy. And you look at Blur, for example, what they were worth, what, billions of dollars or whatever. People just going crazy trying to unload because it didn't make fundamental sense to hold on to it. And I think we have a
But they
really
dropped
definite
like
advantage.
the same amount of token that they had actually put into initial liquidity. So you saw the price initially was like
Yeah.
$5. That's what they set the price at, and then it immediately fell like 90% or whatever. It's just kind of like that's a perfect example of why you don't drop that much versus your initial liquidity. Like it's not hard math to do. People just need to wake the fuck up and do the math.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's just people don't model their airdrops properly. They don't prepare properly. Either that, or they just like want to create that hype and that supply crunch, just so that they can, keep trying to squeeze that for all it's worth. And the thing is, like, we're not VC backed. We don't have private investors. There's no seed round. There's no, crazy whatever. So it's not like there's not infinite priced in growth, which is, I think, a problem with these Blur type airdrops is, retail users don't have 10-year time horizons like VCs do. So if you're doing like a SAFE or a SAFT and you're raising like hundreds of millions of dollars privately, and then you're shooting off this airdrop at a similar valuation because you have infinite VC funny money, then, it's going to suck and it's going to be crazy and it's not going to be that good for the user unless the user is like farming the hell out of the airdrop. So it's definitely like, I don't think like airdrops for VC backed things, unless you're Uniswap and you were the very first guy to do it, it's like, users expect it. Users expect a really gross FDV just so that the marketing team can be like, hey, we airdropped $1 billion, even though slippage is 99% for a $10 trade.
It's
You
all
know,
about the initial valuation of the airdrop. Like Bebas said, it's all 100% like, oh, we dropped this much, we dropped this much, because YouTubers and everything, that's what they like to cover. They like even look at a guy from Coin Bureau, who I think is one of the more responsible YouTubers in terms of providing educational information, and even he's like this was one of the largest airdrops ever. This was one of the largest airdrops ever. So if you provide a large amount of your supply dropped at a high valuation, you're basically guaranteeing yourself a positive set of headlines. Also, if anyone wants to follow me, please do it now because I'm about to hop over onto the Granary account just so that we have the main account up here and y'all can actually click on those links. So I'm begging for follows. Love y'all. I will be back in a few minutes with that account. Thanks, Beavis.
Yeah,
I
sweet.
followed.
Thanks,
I
Gabe.
unfollowed just to follow you again.
Jacob, you're fired. All right, I'll be right back.
I appreciate the answer to that, Flu and Beavis. I think a lot of education needs to be done on the economics in the crypto space. A lot of people degen. A lot of people think, airdrop is just this word, this synonymous word for stimulus check within the space, and it's not sustainable.
Yeah,
It's just not.
definitely. It is, really kind of crazy. A lot of these teams approach, I mean, it's like, they approach it as how can we generate the most exit liquidity possible as quickly as possible, and a lot of these VC backed projects, like, I don't know how familiar the audience is with how venture capital works, but essentially what VCs do is they price in 5 to 10 years of growth at the seed stage or at like the Series A level. And a lot of times they just price in exponential growth. And the reason for that is so that they can price out everybody else. And by doing that and by owning all of the equity and by having everybody like founders under really strict contracts and by trying to dilute everybody and really trying to control the price at the end of the day, what they're doing is they're trying to create a situation where even if their product has no real adoption, that they can exit for a 6 to 10x return. And that's like the ultimate goal of crypto VCs is to exit with a 6 to 10x return. And what tokens have done is they've given this kind of regulatory arbitrage power to VCs, wherein they can invest in these projects, they can maintain equity in the business, and then they can make back their principal and then some on the token, just by dumping it onto LPs and dumping it onto retail. And the reason you see all these companies with huge fully diluted valuations, at least some of the irresponsible ones, is they know nobody's going to sell because it's all venture capital and they're all like structuring these exit plans over the course of years. And really there's no opportunity for the end user because they've already priced in all the opportunity. And sure, that works for VC. And, we see like SoftBank does it, Paradigm, A16Z do it. Everybody does it because they don't want anyone else investing in the stuff they think is going to work. Like you see Dune Analytics, it's like, I mean, I love Dune, but $69 million or whatever at a some billion-dollar valuation, does that make a lot of sense? Like, how many people are using Dune?
Yeah, that's crazy. Like
Yeah.
the target market of Dune is a little too small, I feel like,
Yeah.
for that valuation.
But they don't care because they're like, okay, I'm long crypto. I don't want anybody else investing in Dune. I think Dune is a market leader, so I'm just going to give them so much money that they would need to fuck up pretty bad to not be a market leader. And
Yeah.
the thing is,
And honestly, they have so much cash on hand that, it's like they have to spend it at this point.